I've been in the messaging industry for the past 20 years, and I've seen it evolve, so I think this subject is going to be an interesting matter for you guys. So let's move on. Then the evolution of CPaaS. What I wanted there is to put a quote from Gartner. That's a long one, so let's not go through it. But the idea is that what we want is to enable enterprises and anybody, really, to consume those APIs, make sure that we simplify the integration in order for them to consume all the channels everywhere in order to reach their end users. For example, those voice messages and videos. And that's also a fairly important note that they did put at the end with application, services, or business processes. You're going to see, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. Then the product evolution to CPaaS. So it all started SMS, MMS, SIP trunk, voice calls. Simple, one way. Your order is on its way. That's the example given in the slide there. Very, very simple, blank message, simple text. Then it evolved, or simple voice call. Then it evolved towards email, which is much more rich messaging or rich material contained into that. There you can see the picture. Your flight is confirmed, but then it was also very much an evolution towards an initiation of the conversation with those rich messages, channels, OTT, and all this beginning of conversation, as you can see there, and the start of those programmable tools. And then what you can see on the right-hand side is really that conversational experience, which is what we are moving towards at this stage, where you can see that little bot there, and we are going to talk about the AI and the bots. Importance into that conversational experience. But this is the ultimate killer for the enterprises, because what they want is to ensure that they keep their customers interacting with them. They keep their customer interaction is super important for them. Then let's talk about the market evolution itself. We talked a little bit earlier on today. We talked about that CPaaS 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I think it was Adnin that was mentioning that earlier on. So let's go through that a bit, right, just to understand what is that market evolution about. So the CPaaS 1.0 for us was really, for developers, very, very simple, one-way communication, simple interaction, large tech deployments, a very simple one. The CPaaS 2.0 evolved towards much more interactions which were embedded, or one way that we are still very embedded within the enterprise's processes, within the enterprise's technology, I would say. And then the CPaaS 3.0 is really what we see as being the full evolution of that journey. That's that digital transformation that we're going to talk about again, and that we talked about already this morning, is really how do we transform our entire business, the way the data is consumed, the way the data is stored and consumed there within our within the enterprise, in order to get the customer reached the proper way and interacting with. So a little bit, so this was setting the scene really about what is CPaaS. For many of you working in that industry, that might come, that's obvious, but that was important, I think, in order for us to set the scene for the rest. Let's talk about then a little bit of Sinch. You used to know us at CLX, six guys in a garage in 2008, called CLX then. Pure SMS aggregation. They've understood fairly quickly that messaging had to grow, evolve, and get much more into the voice business as well, but also the personalized videos. So they bought a few companies like Sinch, which is where the name is coming from, Mblocks Vehicle, for example. Then it moved on to understanding a bit and getting closer to the enterprises and their needs. And I think it was Christophe earlier on mentioning that only 25% of the customers of the aggregators are really enterprises. And I think this part is super important in order for us as CPaaS to get closer to the enterprise's needs. Those applications are there, like MyElephant, TWW, Wavy. It's all about campaigns, applications, getting closer to what the customers really do need in order to consume SMS, voice, rich messaging, conversational API, and whatever next-gen messaging you might think about. And then for us, the last part of evolution that we've made is really to get closer to the SMB, closer to the developers, and obviously expand into much more conversational messaging with chat layer as well, reaching out the developers, so the email with Pathwire, the conversational messaging and the SMBs with message media and messenger people, and of course the voice with Intelliquent acquisition. So all the various acquisitions really helped Sinch to position itself as a full CPaaS with a full offer. And let's talk about a bit more about what the real customer cases, use cases are, right? So at the bottom there, you see the Sinch Super Network. Ooh, great, but how do we consume it? What are the problems that we are solving for our customers? And this is the thing that you can see at the external. I hope you see that gray, but I don't think you do, in fact. But anyway, it doesn't matter. All those ones are really the use cases. So the notifications and alerts, the campaigns, the conversational engagement, the customer service, and ultimately the identity and verification. We talked quite a bit about that earlier on with Camara. So this Sinch Super Network has the capabilities to solve all those use cases, but of course, it's too difficult to be consumed that way. So what we've done is really to ensure that we went up to the stack onto those Sinch applications that I just talked about. MyElephant is a very good example of that with a campaign platform that we offer to our customers in SaaS. Another way to help or to enable the enterprises in order to consume all of that more easily are those connectors that we enable thanks to being able to plug onto the backbone of the enterprises is super important. We have to adapt to them, not the other way around. So bringing the connectors with Adobe, Microsoft, Salesforce, SAP, only to name them, is very important to get that integration going. This integration for us is really very important, again, to get embedded into their back-end systems. They have to be able to consume the CPaaS matters as easily as could be. Simplification is something that, to me, is a synonym of CPaaS, to be honest. And finally, last but not least for us, these custom communication solutions, this is really professional services that we've always wanted to implement really, or to ensure that we could offer to our customers. There are always tailor-made solutions, and whatever the tools that you propose, you know those big enterprises, they always have something to change here and there. This is where the professional services are also important. And obviously, none of those could exist without this layer, this yellow, I hope, yes, yellow layer that you can see there on the programmable API and SDK, messaging, chat, voice, video, email, verification. These are really very important APIs and SDK that we provide in order for our customers to be able to consume them. So they could consume them directly or throughout all those channels that I just mentioned via the application, via the connectors, or via our professional services solutions. So ultimately, the goal is to improve the customer experience. So you have at the bottom there the list of some of our customers and the big logos and big names there. But what's interesting is that we are solving problems from a simple targeted campaign or booking confirmation with some SMS reminder, for example, fairly simple ones. Then you move to the service delivery, which could be on voice, which could be a simple SMS notification or a personalized video. People enjoy that quite a lot. It's quite a lot of fun, in fact. And then you move on to the customer care, the customer support, this experience, which is as simple as the one-time PIN, or could be a call from your customer care. The feedbacks and reviews are also something important, and there you start seeing that at the customer care part, you start seeing some interaction. That's really what the enterprises would like. Again, back to what I said at the very beginning. Interaction is really the key there, so that they can get closer to their customers. Your customer would feel much more different when he has really the capability of interacting with an enterprise. Then, okay, this was the opening for me. But then what I would like there is to talk to you about the threat and opportunities in the CPaaS. Obviously, there are multiple threats for us, but we would like to see them as opportunities for all of us in order to sort it out and to get better. So I'm going to talk about 5 major ones: the business-focused shift, the democratized IT decision-making, the conversational experience, the tech shift, which is also driving towards certain fraud in messaging. So let's go first through the business's focus shift. What's interesting is that Gartner requested the enterprises what are their 5 major business focus. And surprise, surprise, growth is one. Okay, that's normal for a company, you would say. But how do we help them thanks to the CPaaS? We help them by going to different markets to touch different customers. That's something where clearly the growth can come for an enterprise. You can see there as well that digital transformation is something important for them. We talked about this quite a lot, but clearly, if they, cost optimization first, that's important. That's an important transition before the digital transformation. The cost optimization is also, sometimes could feel fairly incompatible with the growth, because really when you need to optimize your cost, it's usually fairly difficult to focus on the growth. Although for us it's fairly key, because for the enterprises, all the enterprises are today suffering from what is my return on investment, right? So this cost optimization is also something that we need to keep in mind. Finally, that digital transformation that I just talked about is also something very important and fairly linked to the cost, right? Because it's all about a change, a fundamental change in the processes, in the structure, in really the way your enterprise is working inside. And obviously, in order to grow, you have to improve the customer user experience, and obviously that technology modernization, is coming through that digital transformation, right? So all those elements are linked. And for all those elements, we believe truly that CPaaS is the answer. Because of the digital transformation, because of the optimization of the cost, because of the fact that we help the growth by targeting multiple segments of customers, multiple markets in an easy way, the consumption of that to enable the growth is very simple. Again, simplification is something that we need to keep in mind for CPaaS for me. Then the democratized IT decision-making. For a long time, we've been focused on trying to sell to the IT people. That's more and more becoming wrong in all the companies around the world. Each and every different part of the organization is being made in charge of improving itself. And therefore, thanks to the low-code, no-code capabilities, we have a way to enable them to consume the CPaaS in a more simple way. That is, I think, the very important thing about CPaaS is also you can test it and fail, potentially, but very quickly, and then you reassess your needs. Time to market for all the companies are super important, and that's where this part is really a plus and something that we believe is very important for the CPaaS adoption. Then the third pillar of those threats and opportunities, and again, for each of those, I talked about the potential threat that this could be, but we see these as tremendous opportunities for the CPaaS industry. Conversational everything and AI, you know that, right? The end-to-end customer journey, from marketing, customer care, you need the conversational AI. You need the conversational, but you also need the AI. We could look at it from 2 perspectives. At first, the conversation is important in order to engage your customer and bring that level of interaction that we just talked about. That's one thing. But then the AI itself obviously can help in that interaction with those bots. It's fundamental. But AI could also help in many other topics. So improving the processes, improving the reporting, knowing something for the enterprises is super important. Many of our customers are requesting more and more visibility on what's going on through their message. Even the telco are requesting, okay, give me more insight about what kind of messages is going through my pipes. That's something very important that we can only do with AI. So we truly believe that AI could be positioned as a threat. We talked about this also this morning, where we can see sometimes that the bots are not as good as they could be. But we really see that the AI technology is evolving massively and becoming more and more a problem solver for many of those things. The next one for me is the tech shift. 2 major items on that. The verification and authentication on one side. A lot of traffic is coming from my old days, SMS or classical messaging towards flash calling, silent mobile verification, seems to have detection, a lot of a lot of new capabilities to authenticate, new methods, new technologies in order to authenticate the end user. That could be a threat for the SMS traditional, but that's an opportunity, right? These camera APIs are super exciting for all of us. We just want to consume that because we believe that ultimately when we will have that, we will be able to provide a better service for the end users and therefore enable the enterprises to provide a better service for their end users. So everybody's happy, it's a win-win. Another tech shift which we can see happening are really the OTTs. SMS concretely going to WhatsApp. We can see that on a daily basis. That's just an example of the many tech shift problems that we see, also related potentially to the high price raise of SMS that are happening today. So all those are really tech shift threats that we believe we need to take into account. But coming back to those OTTs, we also believe it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to ensure that we can help our customers to consume those OTT better. But also we believe that for the operators, it's a clear path towards let's go on RCS, right? Let's really go full speed on RCS. Let's make it happen, right? So those opportunities as well. Last but not least, the fraud. And it's fairly related to that tech shift that I just talked about. So fraud is obviously not an opportunity as such. We see it really as a threat. We're going to talk about this with our panelists later on. But for me, fraud is really the largest threat for our market because trust is everything in our business for the entire ecosystem, across the entire ecosystem. Multiple types of fraud that I've mentioned there that I would like just to name. You probably know already SIM farms, except that the latest and greatest for the past weeks is that SIM farms are coming on RCS. I don't know if any of you guys had seen that, but woo, that's the news of the day. And for all those frauds, by the way, it's a Tom and Jerry thing, right? We have to constantly fight against that, and the fraudsters you push them away from the door, and then they come back through the window. So it's really something that we have to work together further. So SIM farms, smishing, spoofing, but also AIT right now, probably something that we've had for the past, 2 years or something, artificial inflation of traffic. Some players in the market are just using the high price of SMS in order to make more money in the chain. I won't come into the details of that, but we've been very active at Sinch and with multiple of our partners in the ecosystem to fight against AIT. I think for all of those, what I would really like you to understand, and probably you guys get it already, it's a threat for all of us in the ecosystem. It's a threat for the operator, it's a threat for the aggregator, for the CPaaS player, but also for the enterprises, of course, because when a consumer does not trust anymore one channel, then it's probably problematic for everything that we did put in place, right? So that's it, really, in a nutshell, what I wanted to tell you about this fraud and opportunity. Fraud is an opportunity, though, in the sense that we, as good players, we are people in that room who really, I hope, genuinely would like to solve those problems, right? So that's an opportunity for us to ensure that we bring a certain level of trust with the enterprises and with the rest of the ecosystem in order to solve those problems. That's a kind of call to action for you guys today. And my last slide, and it's kind of fairly related to that, trust is crucial. We have to trust each other inside the ecosystem, but also ensure that our customers do trust us, and that we ensure that there is that entire path of trust, so that we can make a win-win, right? This industry will only win if we continue to bring the trust. So the closing remark is choose the right partner. Thank you very much. I'm done.